Hilton just announced details for the new Diamond Reserve level. We'll run through the new program, how it affects us as credit card people, and some wins and losses with the changes. Big favor, hit the like button to help with the algorithm. If you know someone that's trying to figure out what's going on, then share this with them. One big thing to note is that these changes are starting in 2026, meaning that they're counting towards status for 2027. So arguably no impact for the next 12 months. For the new Diamond Reserve level, you're going to have $18,000 in spend on Hiltons in a year and either 80 nights or 40 stays. So definitely a lot, but it is consistent with other chains. For example, if Marriott, their top level status is called Ambassador Elite, which is 100 nights and $23K in Marriott spend per year. Marriott and Hilton are two of the larger chains fighting for corporate travelers, so this kind of makes sense. The flagship benefit Hilton's leaning on, and the one they're really pushing, is confirmable upgrade rewards. This would allow you to lock in a premium room up to a 1-bedroom suite for up to 7 nights. Hilton has been pretty behind on this front, so it makes sense, but it also feels weirdly gated. So for example, Marriott has nightly upgrade awards you can earn by hitting 50 elite night credits. With the right cards, so the flagship Marriott one as well as a business one, all you need is 10 additional nights. 10 actual nights versus 80. Over on Hyatt, you can earn something similar with their milestone program by hitting 40 nights. So significantly lower bar. That's not to say that Hilton's version is bad, but it just sounds insanely difficult compared to everyone else. If anything, I feel like the new standard benefits are infinitely more valuable. One big one that doesn't sound that important off the bat is guaranteed 4 p.m. late checkout. Guaranteed being the key word. Historically, Hilton hasn't been very good at this, even on top-level brands like Waldorf Astoria. For example, we were at the Waldorf Beverly Hills last month as Diamonds, and we asked for late checkout, and the best they could do was 1 p.m. Outside of maybe Japan, I can't remember a time where we got 4 p.m. late checkout. The fact that they're actually offering this is a weirdly big deal. One interesting one is going to be Hilton's premium clubs. So it sounds like Hilton is adding another level of lounges to the luxury hotels. If I had to guess, it's going to be similar to Ritz-Carlton clubs where you would have to pay for access. So pay or have their super status. The other benefits are kind of expected, so 24-hour phone line, 120% bonus points, and also upgrade priority above normal diamonds. I think there is a bit of anger and pushback from the credit card community towards this new status. One of the big reasons is that Hilton's flagship card offers diamond status. Maybe I'm alone here, but I don't mind. If someone's spending $18,000 a year on Hiltons and spending 80 nights or 40 stays, I think they should be ahead of me. Especially if you consider that I just got diamond status by getting one of their cards, paying $550, getting a ton of credits, getting a free night, and getting a ton of value. If anything, I think Hilton made this level to keep their actual travelers happy. When the person spending this much on Hilton has the same status as someone spending this much, there's a problem. From my understanding, this new status cannot be earned by credit cards, it's not going to be given, and it's not a spend incentive. Even then though, I don't think we're in a bad spot. Run the numbers for your situation, but the flagship card still makes a ton of sense to me. I have 4 of them to myself and Mandy has 2 because they work. I'm fine paying a $550 annual fee to get up to 400 resort credits, up to 200 flight credits, and a free night reward. Even if you discount the credits, $550 for a free night reward isn't bad. Especially so when you can use it at a place like the Waldorf Astoria at Beverly Hills. So put another way, would I pay $550 for a night here? Generally yes. Especially when the neighboring Hilton might want $481 for the same dates. Also, in case you're curious, I'm being vague with card names because I kind of have to. For longtime viewers, it's similar to the prior situation, and hopefully it'll be resolved by next year. Back to Hilton, there are some risk factors for us. The main fear right now is that they're going to dial back benefits for the lower levels and kind of shift everything to this new one. For Gold and Diamond, a very key one is the daily food and beverage credit or continental breakfast, depending on the brand and region. In the US, it might only cover a simple breakfast. Abroad though, it's amazing, especially in Asia. One of my favorites is the Conrad Tokyo, which is a full-on spread, and you can also order a lobster omelet, which is delicious. I think there is a non-zero chance that they take the benefit away from gold and shift it only to diamond. For diamonds, I think upgrades are staying even though you are lower priority, but that seems fine. The main potential risk factor would be executive lounge access. Even then, getting rid of it doesn't really make sense. Consider that they're adding premium clubs on top of executive lounges. If they remove executive lounges from diamonds, then they're going to be empty because people that have Diamond Reserve aren't going to go to those, they're only going to the nicer ones. I guess they could dilute the executive lounges or cut them in half and then make the other half the nicer side. But yeah, if you are worried about benefits being diluted and you're looking to cancel your cards, it might make sense to redeem while you can. Also, if you have a bunch of points, be careful of your account. Both IHG and Hilton have faced data breaches in the past, and they're not alone here with airlines like Alaska and American also facing similar issues. Today's sponsor, DeleteMe, makes me feel a lot safer. Points and miles are a treasure trove for criminals. There are some tactics to protect yourself, two-factor authentication being a big one. Even then, it doesn't stop account takeover fraud. With the right information and a bit of social engineering, someone can hijack your phone and reset all your other accounts. It's a little scary. What they do is find personal information, let's say from a business card. They use that as a starting point and then connect the dots. Spend 10 seconds doing a quick search. So search for first name, last name, and street name, and city. There's a lot of sites that'll share your full address, past addresses, phone numbers, and even details about your relatives. It's a surprisingly effective way to find your mother's maiden name. There are ways to remove this stuff yourself, but it can take hours, and it sometimes feels like whack-a-mole. DeleteMe makes it super easy, and I've been using them for almost 2 years now. In that time, they've reviewed over 100,000 listings from 149 data brokers, doing all of this in the background, and helping me remove any private information without me lifting a finger. On average, DeleteMe removes over 2,000 pieces of data in your first 2 years. If you want to join me and protect your personal information, then check out joindeleteme.com/AskSebby and use promo code SEBBY for 20% off their US consumer plans. The counter argument and why I'm still bullish on their program and their cards is that I don't think there will be that many new diamond reserves. They're going to keep their super users, which is expected and fine. I don't think there's going to be a wave of new people transferring over though, because most management consultants and other people I know that travel a lot focus on Marriott instead. So footprint's a big factor here, but also the fact that there's a lot of nicer hotels you can book without getting in trouble with Marriott. It does depend on where you work and the level you're at, but a lot of people I know would get more questions if they booked a Waldorf Astoria for work travel. Conrad is passable, but there's a lot less of those. Everything else like Hilton and DoubleTrees are a step down and kind of mid. With Marriott, St. Regis's are a bit much, but there are a ton of business-centric Ritz-Carltons. Even then, you still have Additions, W Hotels, and JWs, which are very nice. Even if you do have unlimited options and you could book anything, I think more people would lean towards Ritz and St. Regis over Waldorf and Conrad's due to footprint. I get why they made the level to keep people happy, but I don't think there's going to be an influx from other programs. With the new level, they also changed some of the prior ones. Hilton Honor Silver status didn't change that much. They basically swapped 25,000 qualifying points to 2,500 qualifying dollars. Pretty much the same for most people and not the most interesting level. Hilton Honors Gold status though had a pretty major change, so 40 nights, 20 stays, or 75k qualifying points, down to 25 nights, 15 stays, or 6k qualifying spend. It's a pretty major drop and a lot easier if you are earning from traveling. For Hilton Honors Diamond status, it went from 60 nights, 30 stays, or 120k qualifying points to 50 nights, 25 stays, or 11.5k qualifying spend. A mini drop here, but a good thing for actual travelers. Lucky for us, we can get these statuses pretty easily with their cards. This part's going to get a bit weird. With the basic card you get silver, with mid-level you get gold, flagship you get diamond, and with the other partner mirror card you get gold status. I think these cards are going to stay relatively the same since they've recently been updated, and they're going to be fine if the maths. These co-branded cards are extremely lucrative for airlines and hotels, so Delta's on track to earn $8 billion from their co-branded cards, and Hilton would be pretty dumb to ruin it and cook the golden goose. Again, this very much feels like they had the credit cards, people were happy and that was fine, but their actual travelers were pissed off that we had status with cards, so they had to appease them. But yeah, if they do destroy the cards, you'll be the first to know, and I'll be downgrading. Okay, so all of this sounds pretty fine. What are the changes Hilton's actually making to potentially screw over people? There's 4 key ones, so lifetime diamond status, rollover nights, reduced points earnings on some brands, and devaluations. Starting with the big one for me, lifetime diamond status is changing. Effective January 1st, 2026, it's going to be 10 years of diamond status and either 1,000 nights or 200k in spend. Before, they used a different metric. So the same 10 years, same potentially 1,000 nights, or 2 million base points. I'm kind of in the crosshairs for this. As of 2023, I was at 44 nights out of 1,000, so pretty far on that front, and 1 million base points out of 2 million. So more than halfway there. For years of diamond, I was at about 5.5, and right now about 7.5. The reason I have so many base points is because of Hilton. So during the shutdowns, they actually let you earn base points with credit card spend, and I ended up putting a bunch of work spend on the cards. The rationale was that it was a long-term smart move, and it kind of made sense to me mentally. At this point, I'm kind of stuck holding the bag. It's also a bit of a mess because it wasn't like I was doing a trick or anything, it was something Hilton pushed and pretty aggressively. And the rationale was that it was shut down, people weren't traveling, and they were trying to earn interchange and keep some loyalty of people. Theoretically, I could still earn lifetime diamond status if I somehow hit 10 nights of diamond status by the end of the year and 2 million base points, but that's not going to happen. I'm also not alone here, and it feels a bit messed up. What I think they should do, and it feels fair to me, is convert base points to lifetime spend, at least as a one-time thing. For example, if you're at 1 million base points out of 2 million, then that converts over to 100k in spend out of the 200k. Otherwise, it feels like they set the endpoint and then change the location midway through. One that pissed off travelers is no rollover nights. So for example, in the past, let's say you hit 70 nights and you only needed 60, you would have 10 that would roll over to the next year, so you weren't starting at 0. They're now getting rid of this. To be fair, this is consistent with World of Hyatt and also Marriott Bonvoy, but other programs like IHG1 Rewards still does rollovers. The counter argument to this is that the other programs, Marriott and Hyatt, both have cards that offer elite nights, so you're not really ever starting at 0. The flip side to that is that Hilton cards offer status outright, and arguably those elite nights don't really matter. In theory, only 3 groups of people are affected, and probably not you. So people that travel a lot and who can't or don't want to get credit cards. Number 2 would be people that live abroad, so they do travel, but maybe they can't get cards, but their cards don't offer the same status. Number 3 are the people going for Diamond Reserve and who end up going way over. This doesn't affect me at all, but it kind of still feels like a weird move. It pretty much pisses off all the non-US travelers, and it doesn't really make sense to me. I guess the fact that they lowered thresholds means that it's easier to earn status, so maybe the rollover part doesn't matter. Yeah, still a bit annoying, and I could see international travelers being pretty pissed. One that I think is overblown and a non-factor is reduced points earnings on select brands. In the future, instead of getting 10x points per dollar spent, you're only getting 5x for Homewood Suites and Spark by Hilton. I don't think I've ever stayed at these brands. Maybe I have stayed at a Homewood during a road trip or something, but yeah, they're pretty affordable and a non-factor in my book. Spark is one of their newer brands, and looking at the pictures, it's not really my speed. If you're a consultant stuck going to these, then a bad outcome, but for most people, it probably doesn't matter. These are pretty affordable hotels, and if you're not doing a ton of nights, it's not going to make a big difference. If anything, pricing is probably why it's happening. Since these are more affordable options, it probably means that the margins are smaller as well, so they're less profitable. In this case, they are trying to save money by paying out less points, so that's an actual cost. Seems fair to me and not a big deal. What's less fair to me and a bigger deal are the aggressive devaluations that we've seen for their top properties. A lot of their flagship Waldorf Astorias have shot up from 150k to 250k for standard rooms. A good example being the Waldorf Astoria Los Cabos. The 150k ceiling felt like a handshake agreement we had, and then when it went up to 250k, it felt like a betrayal. My understanding for why this happened is that these redemptions were expensive and also how they're paid out. Oftentimes, they're based off occupancy. These hotels are generally not owned by Hilton, they're franchised. When there's lower occupancy, Hilton will pay the cost of servicing the room to the hotel. When there's higher occupancy though, then there is a real cost because that hotel could have otherwise sold the room and made real money. In those cases, Hilton ends up paying the retail price or close to it, and for expensive hotels like the Waldorf Astoria Los Cabos, it can get pretty expensive. Depending on dates, 1k is the floor, but 2k to 3k is not uncommon. That pretty much means that these top hotels end up costing Hilton a crap ton. Hilton has one major lever for this, and it's increasing the point price. So for this hotel, the standard base rooms are now 250k. The one benefit from this is that redemptions are now a lot easier and less impossible. Note that if you have free night rewards from holding their cards or spending on their cards, you can actually use it at these hotels as long as there's standard room availability. That means you would use one certificate to cover that 250k night. With this now, more than ever, it's a math equation. Looking at December, some nights are comparably cheap at about $1,000, while there's plenty of other ones in the $2,000 and almost $3,000 range. Let's actually put them side by side. Let's say you're visiting on December 1st, 2nd, or 3rd. It's arguably a bad redemption. 1,058 divided by 250k points is only 0.4 cents per point. My target for Hilton points is about 0.8, so this is well below, meaning that I wouldn't use my points. On the other hand, if you were coming December 21st, 22nd, and 23rd, then it's a great redemption. 3,042 divided by 250k is 1.2 cents per point, so past the hurdle rate that I'm looking for to use my points. Note that the idea isn't to maximize CPP cents per point for the sake of CPP, it's more so to use the right tools for the right situation. If I had free night rewards and also points, I'd probably lean towards using my free night rewards if the cents per point value isn't there. Especially for these 15k ones, I'm only paying about $270 in fees to acquire them before accounting for the points I get back. So $270 for a $1,000 night still works out and it's still good value. For other people that don't have those instruments, it might mean paying out of pocket for the cheaper nights and then saving your points for a bigger redemption elsewhere. For example, there tends to be pretty great last minute availability for the Waldorf Astoria Maldives. That might still be the same $250K, but otherwise would run you $2,700, so this is a better redemption for your points. If you only have 1 million points, but you want to do both of these trips, then I'd rather lock in the higher value with the Maldives and then pay out of pocket for Cabo, since that's a lower net cost across the board. Main takeaway, I think there still is value with the Hilton program, but be careful. If you have Hilton points, use them while you can, because for all we know, it might jump up to $350K for a standard room in a year. In the meantime, free night rewards are the new strategy in meta, and their flagship cards are a great way to get them, along with the mid-level if you can't spend towards them. Lots of strategies here based off how the terms work and based off the cards. On that note, if you want to learn more about cards, whether these ones or pretty much any other cards out there, and you want to support the channel, we have links on the website, AskSebby.com, and also down below in the description box. Make sure the links are competitive, that they make sense, but otherwise it's a huge way to support the channel, so thank you in advance. Also, if you are curious what these hotels are actually like, we do have videos on the travel channel, Sebby Fung and Mandy Roams. So 2 weeks ago, we put out the Waldorf Astoria Maldives, and before that 6 months ago, we had the Waldorf Astoria Los Cabos. If you want to stay closer to home, there's also Maui, and if you want to do Europe, there is Versailles. Again, thank you to DeleteMe for sponsoring today's video. If you made it to this point, leave a beach emoji in the comments down below, and I'll try to heart it and also respond. 3 questions. What are your thoughts on the new status? Do you think the cards are still viable, or are you going to cancel them or keep them? What are your thoughts there? And what's your favorite Hilton redemption? Let me know and everyone else know in the comments down below. Big favorite, thumbs up, share this, but otherwise hope you liked it. See you next time.